Yo, so they said yesterday that Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, had let the chief editor of the Atlantic into a group chat as they discussed U.S. military plans to strike Yemen. Now, dude said he didn't even think that it was real. That they had really invited him. First, he said that Tim Walz, Trumpito's political advisor, had sent him the invite, and then he was like, he didn't even think that it was real until 2 hours later. He seen other news start announcing that the U.S. was striking certain targets that was in the text, and that's when he knew that he had to snitch immediately because this would be an amazing story. My name is Marcus Russell. Yo, let's get right to it.
I'll tell you something. This is a trip that we had. I tell you something. This is a trip we've had circled on the calendar from the beginning. The Indo-Pacific, shifting priorities to make sure we're deterring threats to the future. President Trump's been focused on that, reestablishing the warrior ethos, rebuilding our military, and ultimately reestablishing deterrence is critically important. And so we're out here to talk to our commanders and, more importantly, meet with the troops all across the Indo-Pacific, and then our allies and partners too, who are going to be a critical part of ensuring,
what about the text?
Is free. And so we're glad to be here. It's a beautiful day. Had a full work day on the plane. Now we've got a full work day here as well, and looking forward to it. One question.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in the Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back, it was purely defensively or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence. We will open freedom of navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Why were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
The NSC said it was authentic.
Yo, top national security advisors have authenticated the text, saying that was really sent from a private group text. But as you can see, Pete got off the plane in Hawaii and said, man, wasn't nobody texting no war plans. He said, man, I ain't texting no war plans in years, man. He asked, he said, bro, when's the last time I texted some war plans? He was like, I don't know. Same thing I would have said, because as we all know, that breaching national security could be criminally penalized. So, yo, it's serious. I would definitely say the same thing. Let's close out.
And there you have it. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth just landed there at Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam in Hawaii, saying this: no one was texting war plans.
Wasn't nobody texting no war plans, man.
Bars there. He was asked very, very briefly about this. That was the first question he took. And then he kind of went into a lengthy kind of tirade, character assassination against Jeffrey Goldberg, who is the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. And he brought up and he referenced some of the previous pieces Goldberg has written for The Atlantic there as its editor-in-chief. But he was quite declarative there, saying that no one leaked war plans. And so we'll just have to wait and see what other comments from other White House officials are going to be made. We have heard from the Vice President's office. We have heard from Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary. President Trump was asked about this today. Now Secretary Hegseth asked about this today. The National Security Council spokesperson put out a statement, and more statements are coming in now from both.
Yo, I'm glad if these Democrats do try to push the issue that it won't be on Pete Hegseth, it'll be on Tim Walz, because Tim Walz is the one that sent the invite to Goldberg, the Atlantic chief editor. But mishandling defense information is strictly protected by law. It's a law called the Espionage Act. It's about a 100-year-old law. You remember they tried to hit Hillary Clinton with this in 2015, 2016. She somehow slipped through the cracks. Remember that? But I know the Democrats have been waiting to get their lick back. So at least it's gonna be on Tim Walz and not Pete Hegseth. When they asked Trumpito about the leaked messages, he just simply blew it off for now. But immediately after, Chuck Schumer has already been in the Senate making demands that they investigate. So it's gonna be a bumpy ride, man. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. My name is Marcus Russell. Until next time, hit that subscribe button. Peace.